Good evening, everyone. We are going to call the City Commission meeting for Monday, July 19th, 2021 to order. May we have the roll call, please?
Commissioner Vila Vasquez.
Present.
Commissioner King.
Oh, he's excused.
Commissioner McCool. Here. Commissioner Ramos.
Present. Commissioner
Sosa.
Here.
Vice Mayor Bradford. Here. Mayor Hersberg.
Here. So this evening, we will turn the meeting over to Commissioner McCool. Not the water meter, the meeting.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. This evening, our invocation will be presented by Pastor Bradley from New Hope Baptist Church. We will follow that with the Pledge of Allegiance, and then we will have our beautiful Caliana Pisa, who is 9 years old, homeschooled in the 4th grade, and she will be doing our Star Spangled Banner. So can we rise, please?
Let us pray. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for allowing us to be here tonight. And we ask, Lord, that you bestow your blessings upon our City Commission meeting tonight. Dear Lord, we pray for our mayor, our city commissioners, and for the various levels of city officials. Dear Lord, we pray that you continue, Lord, to bless them, oh God, prosper them for their service, and strengthen them, Lord, for their journey. And dear Lord, we pray that you give them insight to make decisions, Lord, in the spirit of togetherness that will progress our city. Dear Lord, we ask your blessings upon this agenda tonight. We pray, Lord, that things will be done decently and in order. And tonight, as we leave this place, Lord, we will have a spirit of support. Dear Lord, we just pray now you just continue to bless our city, Lord, for we need you. And we pray, God, you bless us with your peace, your power, your provision, your divine protection, and prosperity. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag for the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
That was amazing. I think that's the first time that we've had anyone doing that. Yay, thank you. Thanks for coming out and doing that for us. That was great. So we're going to head right into our business meeting. We don't have any minutes or agendas for approval, or we don't have any presentations, awards, or reports this evening. So we're going to go ahead right into the business meeting. Our first item on the agenda is item number 6A, a public hearing, ordinance number 02-2021, rezoning of around 129.02 acres from industrial to industrial planned unit development at second and final reading. As a reminder, this hearing is a quasi-judicial hearing. Mr. Paradise, would you like to begin?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Ron Paradise, Planning Development Services for the record. As mentioned, this is a quasi-judicial hearing. Therefore, I'm going to turn the floor over to our esteemed legal counsel, Skip Fowler, for swearing in and ex parte disclosure.
Yes, Mayor, as you know, and it's very nice to advise, if there have been any contact or conversations between yourselves and those who may have an interest in this, they need to be presented tonight so that they can be on the record. Will those who are going to testify tonight please stand? Just the one? Well, the same rule applies to you with regard to the ex parte, and if you'd hold up your right hand, you solemnly swear or affirm that you will testify to the best of your knowledge, and that it shall be, and that it shall be true and accurate to the best of your abilities.
I do.
Paradise.
Thank you, sir. Just as a footnote, we may need to also swear in the applicant, who is evidently running a few minutes behind that Orlando traffic. You can never really predict.
Okay, Mr. Paradise, we need to have the ex parte declaration from the commission.
Okay.
So if you'd like to call alphabetically, please, for ex parte communication disclosure, commissioners and vice mayor.
Commissioner Villa-Vasquez.
No personal contact with anyone other than using that road for transportation, which I normally do.
Commissioner McCool.
Surprisingly, I have had no ex parte communication on this project.
Commissioner Ramos.
None whatsoever.
Commissioner Sosa.
I have not spoken to anybody about this other than driving by it.
Vice Mayor Bradford.
No new ex parte.
Mayor Hersberg.
No ex parte communication, and sadly, not even driven by since the last hearing. Okay, Mr. Paradise.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Ordinance 02-2021 is a proposal to rezone 129 acres from industrial to industrial plan unit development. This property is located off the North Normandy corridor across the street from the Amazon Fulfillment Center. This is the second and final hearing on this ordinance. There have been no material alterations to the written development agreement or any other supporting documentation since the City Commission heard this on June 21st. As was discussed at June 21st, this includes two development options. One development option includes numerous out parcels, and the second development option allows for less out parcel development and greater industrial or singular uses. When I said there was no material alterations, that is correct. Staff did modify Section 6I of the development agreement on pages 4 and 5, basically just to clarify the out parcels and minimum lot sizes associated with both development options. We just thought it was a clarification statement. With this being said, city staff recommends the City Commission adopt ordinance number 02-2021 to rezone the 129 acres from industrial to industrial plan unit development based on the following substantial and competent evidence. The project will create jobs within the city and help address the jobs housing imbalance. Most of the jobs created will be in distribution and manufacturing, which are full-time and higher paying than most service sector jobs. Distribution and manufacturing jobs are more likely to have benefits like health care. The project, utilizing the Amazon Fulfillment Center as a comparable, would generate approximately $650,000 a year in additional city tax base at the present millage rates. The project can be served by public utilities like roads, utilizing existing capacity or making fair share payments. Portland Industrial Park, which is another name for this rezoning, is located on land long planned for intensive uses and employment-oriented activities, is situated in an existing planned and commercial industrial development, and is located well away from residential neighborhoods. The project's consistent with the city's economic development goals, and the project is consistent with the city's comprehensive plan. I'd be happy to field any questions you all may have with regard to this rezoning request.
Commissioners, let's see. Commissioner Sosa.
When we talk about the fair share, that was going to be, was it 800,000 to expand from Energy Drive down to, I guess, the end of this property? Now, when I was reading this, it also said eventually we plan on doing the Rhode Island extension that's going to abut this. Will they be putting any money towards that $10 million project?
They will put down over $800,000, and that will be used to offset the 4-laning costs of North Normandy between Energy Avenue and South Street, which is the terminus of the northern extent of the 4-laning. What they've done with regard to Rhode Island is they will, as part of a vacation request, they will donate a 70-foot right-of-way strip along the southern margin of their property, which combined with an existing 30-foot right-of-way that is part of the Pine View Estate subdivision will facilitate a 100-foot wide corridor, like I said, along the southern margin of their property.
Good. Commissioner McCool?
Yeah, first of all, what is the projected start date on this, if this is passed, Ron?
I can't say for sure. They have told us that they would like to start as soon as possible, but I'm not really sure what the projected start date. Obviously, we're talking, multiple users, comparing that to Project Normandy, which was just a single end user. I think, it's going to take some time for that project to fill up.
The reason that I'm asking, and I would just be remiss given current platforms and asking this, is I'm talking about, because I can't pull up the multiple development agreement, but in looking at the development agreement, that sometimes changes as we go along, right? There are things added or there are things that are striked from that. Is that correct?
It can be to a limited extent. If it becomes a major change to the PUD, then it needs to come back for the city commission for a look-see.
Okay, so I'm just talking about things like changing the impervious surface area, things like that, to follow like a greener building practice as Deltona is headed that way. That's all I'm asking. I'm not talking about major changes.
Oh, okay.
But that development agreement is still open as we move forward to greener building practices,
Yeah,
correct?
they would have an option to delve into those green building standards and stuff like it. It certainly does not preclude that.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Vice Mayor?
Commissioner McCool covered a couple of questions I had, but I do want to say great job, staff, all of you guys, on working diligently to bring the much-needed jobs to Deltona that we've been asking you to do. And I know it hasn't been an easy feat, but I want to tell you guys thank you very much, because what you guys go through on the other side, we don't ever see. But you guys are doing a great job. But you pretty much answered the questions that I had.
Commissioner Avila Vasquez?
Thank you, Mayor. Ron, do we know exactly how many businesses have been approved to be built in that area or are already in the process of waiting for the rezoning to start building?
No, ma'am.
So it's going to be taking place as it goes along?
It will most likely, it'll definitely be incremental.
Okay, thank you.
Commissioner McCool?
I'm sorry, I had something covered up with a sticky note, but I'm also more a comment, Ron, than anything else, is that as we move forward, when we're talking about our building, when we're talking about, a more holistic approach to building and green building, I also want us to keep in mind the social responsibility commitments that we have, these large companies need to have or partner with us in when they're moving in, right?
Commissioner, this is a question. This is time for questions.
Do we have, Mr. Paradise, do we have a policy, and is it mentioned during the development agreements regarding social responsibility commitments or community commitments or partnerships with the city of Deltona when these large companies move in?
That would not be part of the rezoning process.
Okay, so I'm just asking because we're talking about a large, a large project. Thank you.
Okay, Commissioners, since seeing no more questions from Mr. Paradise and the applicant is not here yet, we will go ahead. Is there anyone here that is someone that has a letter of standing, that received a letter of standing? No? Then we'll go on to public participation. Any members of the public that wanted to come up and speak and filled out a form?
Brian, please.
Albert Brian, Deltona. Normally I'd come up here and raise Cain with y'all about certain parts of this project, but I'm actually for this project. The only thing I'm gonna state is the fact that I'm gonna warn each and every one of y'all that this project actually has peak driving hours from 5 to 6 a.m., 4 to 5 p.m. Let's see here. Peak driving hours, 5 to 6 a.m. and 4 to 5 p.m. Isn't that about the same time people are going to work to go to Orlando or to go to Daytona Beach? So this is actually going to congest Howland Boulevard, Normandy Boulevard, and Graves. Just a warning.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else?
That closes public comments.
Okay, we'll close public comments for this portion of the hearing. Mr. Fowler, since we do not have the applicant here yet, I have the next process on the list would be rebuttal from the applicant, and there is nothing basically to rebut. So may we go ahead then with a motion, or are we required to,
You may proceed, Mayor. There's really little to rebut.
Okay, just to be clear, since it's a quasi-judicial hearing, I want to do the process correctly. Vice Mayor Bradford and then Commissioner Ramos.
Okay, just going to make a statement and then a motion in response to that. Here's what I'm hoping on your peak hours driving, is that these residents, instead of peak hours driving to Orlando to work and to Sanford to work and to Daytona to work, they're driving to Deltona to work. They're closer to home, they have more family time, they have more me time, and if we can save a family 10 hours a week to be home with their families, I'll drive 5 extra minutes in traffic to keep them close to home with their families and have local jobs here. So with that made, I hereby move to approve Ordinance 02-2021, rezoning 109.02 acres from industrial to industrial plan unit development at first, second, and final adoption hearing based on the following. Portland Industrial Park will create jobs within the city and help address the job housing imbalance. Most jobs created will be in distribution and manufacturing, which are higher paying than most service sector jobs. Distribution and manufacturing jobs are more likely to have benefits like health care coverage. Sorry guys, gotta scroll up. Portland Industrial Park, utilizing Amazon as comparable, will generate approximately $650,000 per year in taxes at present millage rates. The project can be served by public facilities like roads utilizing existing capacity or making fair share payments. Portland Industrial Park is located on land long plan for intensive uses and employment-oriented development, is situated in an area of existing and planned commercial industrial development and is located well away from residential neighborhoods. The project is consistent with the city economic development goals. The Portland Industrial Park IPUD is consistent with the city comprehensive plan. The acting city manager has the authority to make corrections of Scrivener errors and the like.
Second.
Properly moved by Vice Mayor Bradford, seconded by Commissioner Ramos. Commissioner, you were on the board, no more? No good? Okay, perfect. So we have a motion and a second on the floor. We've gone through the quasi-judicial process correctly, Mr. Fowler?
You have, Mayor.
And may we vote, please? Oh, Mr. Fowler, you want to read the ordinance?
Oh, yes, ma'am. I have to get back and dig it out now. Sorry. You don't have a handy, do you, John? I'm sorry, I closed up the file.
That's okay. Someone else can read it as well. Do, 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 do. That's right. Get some music. Do you want me to read it?
Well, if I can find it, I'll read it, Mayor.
Do you-
We're long on material today.
We definitely need Jeopardy music. All right. Liz to
Thank
the
you,
rescue.
Madam Clerk. Ordinance 02-2021, an ordinance of the City of Deltona, Florida, amending the official zoning map of the city to rezone 129.02 plus or minus acres of land generally located on the east side of Normandy Boulevard and south of Graves Avenue from City of Deltona Industrial I to Industrial Plan Unit Development IPUD, providing for conflicts, providing for severability, and providing for an effective date.
Thank you, sir. May we vote, please? And the motion passes 6-0. We'll move on now to old business. Item 7A, request for approval for a salary increase for the acting city manager based on his satisfactory evaluations.
Yes,
So-
ma'am. At the last meeting, you all had a discussion item regarding my evaluation, and that went through. So tonight, we're bringing back the actual approval for the $2,500 salary increase in accordance with the December 14th, 2020 contract, which called for a $2,500 increase in pay with the 3-month and a 6-month evaluation each. So what we're have before you is to increase my salary from $162,500 to $165,000.
Okay, thank you, sir. Any comments by the commission? Any public comment on this item? We'll close the public hearing on this item then. And commissioners, then we need a motion and a second. And we have Vice Mayor and Commissioner Ramos.
I move to authorize a $2,500 increase in salary to $165,000 annually based on a satisfactory evaluation submitted by the commission.
Second.
Properly moved by Vice Mayor Bradford, seconded by Commissioner Ramos, the dynamic duo this evening. And may we vote, please? And the motion passes 6-0. We'll move on to the next item, which is item B, a request for approval of resolution number 2021-39, amending the commission operating guidelines and policies and procedures. Mr. Peters, do you want to take this one, or Mr.
Yes,
Fowler?
ma'am. I will. Madam Mayor, Commissioners, this is a resolution number 2021-39. There have been some discussion recently with regard to during the state emergency, the commission was allowed to participate in commission meetings via Zoom, and the process went very well. As of July 1, we are no longer in the state of emergency for the state of Florida, so that policy went away. The current city policy for the commission is that we do not allow meeting by phone or by Zoom. And so we had a general discussion about that. We are proposing, in accordance with a Attorney General's opinion from July 26, 2016, that allows for video participation in meetings. However, the policy that we're bringing forward in accordance to that Attorney General's opinion is that the commissioner who is requesting to participate via Zoom has to make the request. The remaining commissioners present who make up a quorum can elect to allow that commissioner to participate via Zoom. For the purposes of family emergency or other things of a similar nature. The way we view it is if you have a family emergency or if you are traveling back and the flight got canceled or something like that, it would not cover a family vacation or something like that, that type of thing. And so if the commission so desires to allow the person to participate via Zoom or other devices, they cannot count toward the quorum. There has to be a quorum established to have that vote to allow them to participate. Once they're allowed to participate, they can be part of the discussion and the vote on any item on the agenda that evening. So we're recommending that we modify the policy via Resolution 2021-39, and like I said before, this is in accordance with the State Attorney General's opinion.
Okay, thank you, sir. Commissioner Avila Vasquez.
Thank you, Mayor. So, Mr. Peters, in order for the person or the commissioner to take part in a Zoom meeting, it will be approved that same day by the commissioners? Is that what you?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am. What we would do is staff would work with that commissioner to set them up via Zoom. But at the beginning of the meeting, there would be an item on the agenda to allow Commissioner so-and-so to participate in the meeting via Zoom, once we've established a quorum.
Okay, thank you.
Commissioner Sosa?
Yeah, I understand, during a state of emergency like we had with the COVID, which Governor DeSantis issued this order, which ended July 1st. For a situation like that there, I believe that a Zoom meeting would be viable. But for regular commission meetings, everybody knows we do them the first and third Monday. So you should schedule your vacation around them if you plan to participate. My biggest concern is that if we have a sensitive topic that's up for discussion that night and somebody Zooms in, and let's say, if there's 6 commissioners here and 4 decide, hey, we don't want their opinion on here, that to me, I have an issue with that we have to get voted. If we're gonna allow this, which I don't agree with, then I think you need to take the commission vote out at the beginning. You're either gonna say, set up a guideline if you're sick and cannot attend, or if you're out of town and you're stranded at the airport, those may be the only 2 reasons you should come in here, but a commission shouldn't vote on whether or not they're gonna let you into Zoom.
Commissioner Sosa, as outlined in the report, the intent is that the commissioner could join the meeting for good cause shown as such as an illness for the commissioner or of the family or an emergency situation. As I said before, your flight from Chicago got canceled because of weather or something like that. So it's very specific as to what constitutes a viable situation for the consideration in this policy.
Yeah. And going to my second point, why would the commission have to vote to allow you on to Zoom? I mean, if you're sick and I call and I call you and say, hey, I'm feeling sick today, I don't want to come in, you know, I'm going to just Zoom in. I have to get approval from everybody else. Like I say, what if there's a sensitive issue on here and somebody doesn't want me to vote on that agenda item? My thing is, I'm not saying it would happen in this commission, but we got to look down the road, you know, in the future. In this, I could see this going the wrong way, you know, and I don't approve it. I do approve of if we have a state of emergency and we need to do a Zoom meeting, that's fine. But if there's no state of emergency, I don't believe we should be Zooming in.
Commissioner Vasquez and Vice Mayor.
Thank you, Mayor. Are we going to be providing some kind of policy to follow when you are on a Zoom meeting from home? I expect that those of us who are Zooming in will follow the same policy and procedures we follow here up at the dais.
Right.
And not, you know, put your laptop on mute and just walk around your house and pick up a dinner plate or answer your other phones when you're still, I mean, you are in a meeting, so I'm expecting everybody to follow the same procedures up here. Is there going to be something written up about that?
Well, ma'am, let me answer that. The answer would typically be yes. And whoever it might be, you could certainly pose that question or identify that as a requirement prior to the vote. And then I'm certain that whoever it was would honor that obligation.
Well, I don't think it should be required during the vote. I think it's something that we follow when we're up here at the dais. I don't think we should be telling somebody, well, if you're going to be on Zoom, you need to stay sitting up there and you can't answer your phones and you can't start eating your dinner plate while you're on Zoom. That's going to be part of the policy if this gets approved today. Am I correct?
Well, it's not part of the policy if approved, but you could certainly make that a condition. The policy to approve today is to give those people who have an emergency or a good cause the right to participate by Zoom as long as they don't qualify as the part of the quorum, and then to vote. But you're not saying what they can have in their hands or what might be in front of them, et cetera. But you certainly could do that during the course of the meeting when you're asked to vote on it, if you have reason to believe that they might be, I don't know, any of the different items that you identified. I think that would be very unusual, though, quite honestly.
Okay.
Vice Mayor?
Commissioner Sosa, I don't know if you caught this. I don't believe it's possible for, like, let's just say there's two people up here and somebody zoomed in. Under Section 5, where it says quorum, it says a commissioner with a majority vote of the commission may join a meeting for good cause shown as such illness, but then it goes on to say, so if there's not a quorum on the dais, right, they're not allowed to join into the meeting. So we won't have that as, hey, I'm
Well,
the
there wouldn't be a
last.
meeting. If there's not a quorum,
Yeah, there's not a
meeting.
quorum, there's not a meeting. So there has to be a quorum prior to that individual being there. And, you know, sometimes regardless of being sick or not, people have a passionate, they have comments, they have ideas, they have information that, you know, we're the Fab Seven up here, that we come up with some great discussions that a lot of times I'll be like, oh, wow, I didn't think of that. I mean, you brought up some points before that I'm like, wow, I hadn't thought of it that way. So, you know, I don't see any reason to not allow somebody and penalize them. Besides that, I don't want any of y'all coming in here sick. So I'd rather you be up on screen than come in here sick, you know. So, I mean, to me, it's just, you know, it's discussion. I don't see where it's going to hurt anything or could be detrimental to any of us, you know. If it wasn't that we already, you know, we have to have that quorum to have it, then it'd be a different story. So that person's like body 6 and body 7. It's not like, hey, you're needed to make those. So.
Okay, Commissioner Ramos?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. To Commissioner Sosa's point, with the TPO, what we had to do was that. So we needed to establish a quorum. And those that were Zooming in then, the quorum that was present would have to make a motion to accept them to participate in reference to the meeting. So that's how it was done. But to your point, it was a state of emergency. I think, and I've had this conversation with Mr. Peters, is what is an emergency? What might be my emergency might not be Commissioner McCool's emergency. And I think, to be quite honest, if I have a family emergency, with all due respect, I think I'm going to be focused on my family emergency. So I'm hearing the Vice Mayor, and she talks about being sick. I get it. But is that an emergency? Because then, I'm just going to use you as an example. You call me, I'm not feeling good. I'm sick. I don't want to be there. But is that an emergency? Now, it might be an emergency for you, correct? And I get your point, not wanting to get everyone sick here. I just think I get it. Times are changing, and we want to be able to adapt to be able to do things. It's just a struggle that then at the end of the day, we're up here kind of like fighting with each other about what is an emergency or whatnot. Or to Commissioner Sosa's point, he wants to zoom in, but the dais might not want him to talk and say, no, he can't zoom in. So we've already defeated the purpose in that aspect of it. So to your point, yeah, if it's going to happen, it's going to happen. But I will tell you that, yes, under the state of emergency with the TPO, we needed to have a physical quorum. And then whoever zoomed in, the physical quorum, would have to make a motion to accept them to participate.
Correct.
It's just one of those things, I think, that I get it. It's something that we're going to have to tackle because of what's going on. But unless it's a state of emergency, again, it just becomes a question of what is an emergency. And I don't know that we can actually define then what is an emergency, because we'll be here all night. So what is an emergency? Just food for thought.
So before I go to Commissioner McCool, I just have a comment. Look, we did this in the past. Commissioner McFall-Conti had to be on bed rest because she was pregnant. They let her call in. Commissioner Denizak, former Vice Mayor Denizak, same thing, was sick, called in. After that, people got twitchy. We don't want to do it anymore. Phone call wasn't good. Audio was bad. I understand that. We have different technology now. It can be up on a screen. People can see you. You're really there. So I was just on a phone call today on my way here talking with someone in another city in Brevard County. Made a comment. COVID is surging right now. Got an email today that I could have been exposed. Turns out I wasn't, but I got that email today. So what happens if I was exposed? Would I be allowed to zoom in? Nope. Wouldn't be. So the gentleman on the other line said, he's talking to one of his commissioners. He's like, don't come in, call in. And he said it as nothing. He's like, she just needs to call in. So other cities do this. This is not novel for Deltona. I agree with Commissioner Sosa. I don't agree with having to approve. With the TPO, Commissioner Ramos, it's a larger group. It's a larger group that you're dealing with. How many people in TPO? 30 people. So if you got 5 zooming in, 6 zooming in, not going to swing a vote that much. Might, but not so much. You got 1. We got a lot of 4-3 votes up here. And if we don't want that vote, you're absolutely right, sir. Not feeling that he's really sick today, so I'm going to vote no, that he can't participate, because I know he's going to vote against me just by the previous ordinance or whatever. So I can't support that portion. I can't support this we have to approve it portion. Either have it or don't have it. What's an emergency? Look, we're all adults. I've known and been to commission meetings and council meetings where when a vote comes up, one of these people walks to the bathroom, chooses not to participate, leaves the dais. Is that right? It's your own personal thing. I don't agree with it. I think if you're up here, you need to vote, right? Spending 15 minutes in the bathroom because you don't want to be part of a nasty discussion, it's kind of copping out, but people do it. So at some point, we all have to police ourselves. We're adults, we're elected officials, people put trust in us to do the right thing, to manage ourselves, and have appropriate behavior for the role that we've been elected to. I can support this, times are changing, but I cannot support that we have to decide if Junior can call in or not. No way, no how. So if that portion is taken out, I'm in support of it. And again, emergency, to your point, if I'm exposed to COVID and I can't come in, but I can Zoom in, is that an emergency? Maybe not, but it is maybe for these people. Might be an emergency for these people that are sitting here. So, Commissioner McCool?
I'm in agreement with the portion that states that either we have it or do not have it. But times they are a-changing. And I believe that we have to move with times. And again, we are all adults up here. And I really don't see anyone that I serve with sitting up here on this dais abusing the privilege of doing that. I just don't. We entrust our city manager to make decisions regarding that. We have a policy of being absent. I think that pretty much everyone up here is responsible. And I think that the city manager at $165,000 a year can make that decision and make those choices if something qualifies as an emergency or not, because your emergency might not be my emergency. You know, I ask you, if I have a family member that's dying of a terminal illness and I want to go be with them for 2 weeks, is that an emergency for you? No, but it might be for me. And at that juncture, I would have to make a difficult decision that either you're going to throw me off the commission and I'm going to go be with that family member, or we move into the next, you know, evolution of being a commission.
Okay.
Madam Mayor?
Yes.
I'd like
Commissioner
to-
Vasquez, you're up next. Do you want to let him speak, or do you want to? Okay.
I just want to put out a clarification here. One of the key things that you all need to remember is that prior to that meeting, I will receive a request from a commissioner to set up Zoom. And I think every one of you all know me well enough to know there will be a conversation. And before I will authorize the Zoom to be set up, I would have to have a comfort level that this is something that is approvable by the commission. So there's really a two-part check here. And, you know, it's incumbent on me to have a comfort level that this is something that meets the policy before I would even set up with our staff to do the Zoom meeting. Now, the commissioner could choose to have me go ahead and set it up and ask you all for their circumstance. But there is a two-part review as to the appropriateness, and I just wanted to point that out.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Avila Vasquez?
Thank you, Mayor. You know, I sort of, no, actually, I do agree with the portion that I don't believe that it should be the commissioners to decide whether somebody should take part in a Zoom meeting. I mean, once you're on the Zoom meeting, you are part of the commission. So I think that once it's clear with the city manager that, you know, you have this emergency or you have this situation that you cannot be here present, but you want to take part in the commission meeting, that should be the final decision. And like most of you have set up here at the dais, not be in a position to be set up so that your vote doesn't count. But other than the other requests, that if you have an emergency or a situation that you cannot be here present but would like to take part in the meeting, I don't see any problem with that. I can go with that if we omit the part that the commissions have to approve that you can take part of a meeting, because that's like saying, well, like everything else, you know, we don't want your vote. So if that is removed from the, I'm fine with that.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner. Vice Mayor? Then we're going to
I was just going to make a motion unless anybody else had more discussion here.
Well, if you would like to make a motion, you can, and see if you get a second on it, and then we'll go to public
I
comment.
move to adopt resolution number 2021-39 minus with the removal of the statement, no action of the city commission shall be valid unless adopted by an affirmative vote of the majority of the commissioners in attendance unless otherwise provided by law or stated herein. So again, my motion is to adopt it with the removal of that statement.
Okay, and Joyce, did you get the statement? No. Is it in section, is it in number one?
It's under,
If I can, I think it's item 1 under section 5.
Yes.
And if so, perhaps the way to do it would be say, city charter provides a majority of the city commission shall constitute a quorum, period. Here comes the new language. A commissioner, strike with a majority of the commission, may join a meeting for good cause shown, the typo there, such as an illness, et cetera. In other words, we're striking with a majority vote of the commission.
Right. Is
That's
that
what you
okay?
said.
Is that acceptable, Vice Mayor?
yeah, it's basically, that's that whole statement there that says no action of city commission. That's what I'm saying, you're striking out
Yes.
that whole sentence there. Right.
It will say exactly what Mr. Fowler said. A commissioner may join a meeting for good cause shown,
And can
Such
we,
as.
or do you want to get rid of all that whole
can't
thing?
we just strike out number 2 then? Because then number 2 becomes really null and void.
Okay, which
Well,
page are you guys on? I'm under section 5 of the
Yes.
quorum. Okay, on page 10, and basically where you,
Item number 2 here is the existing with an acknowledgement that the absent commissioner can't constitute the quorum.
Correct, that's fine.
And that is, in fact, the law.
right. Right, so
I don't
basically
think
we
you
want
need
it,
to- You
right.
don't need to make a modification to number 2.
Yeah, we want a quorum, we just do not need to have the majority of vote to have them present in the meeting.
Right, and that's in 1, and we struck that.
Okay,
Perfect.
so we're just going to take out a majority vote of the commission, with a majority vote of the commission. Is that okay? Or do you want to strike the good cause, blah, blah, blah?
Yeah, can you read back what you were, Skip, can you read that back as you were
Yes.
recommending it?
Yes, this is item 1. The city charter provides a majority of the city commission shall constitute a quorum, period. A commissioner, strike with a majority vote of the commission, a commissioner may join a meeting for good cause shown, such as an illness of the commissioner or their family or an emergency situation. The commissioner participating by Zoom or similar platform may not be used to constitute a quorum. And then
Okay
2
with
and
that?
3 stay the same.
No, that's not, because under that it says, "No action of the city commission shall be valid unless adopted by an affirmative vote of the majority of the commissioners in attendance." So that's what we're setting up here, saying we don't
You're
want.
on a different page than we are, I think.
No, I'm not. Go to page 10. So
I'm on
where I'm
page 1
looking
too.
underneath that, it says, "No action of the city commission shall be valid unless adopted by affirmative vote of the majority of the commission in attendance unless otherwise provided." I'm
Vice
on-
Mayor, go to the resolution. Pull up the
But
actual.
this is part of the policy that they have in there.
Well, go to the resolution, because the policy would be changed by the resolution.
Okay, so that,
Just go to the
it's going to strike
resolution.
that out, right? I just want to verify that what you're saying, this is going to be struck out.
Yes.
Okay.
No, only one line, because this is the
part that
resolution.
requires a vote of the commission
This is the
to
resolution.
authorize it is struck.
This is what they're writing to put.
If you
So
move,
the policy and the resolution are not going to,
See, they added to it here.
no action of the city commission is adopted by an affirmative vote.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, but that's normal. No action of the city commission, that's regular. That
That's
was in
just
there
gonna be
before.
normal?
Yeah, that's okay.
Okay. Right, yeah, we just want to make sure that that's going to be this exact same.
that's the change.
That's it.
Strike that. And then this is just a typo.
Okay.
Yes.
That's it.
Yep, okay. So, in the resolution, section 5, the city charter provides that a majority of the city commission shall constitute a quorum. A commissioner may join a meeting for good cause shown, such as an illness of the commissioner or their family or an emergency situation. The commissioner participating by Zoom or similar platform may not be used to constitute a quorum. That's number 1. Number 2 says, however, the number 2, we don't need any modifications to, just with the majority vote of the commission. Is everyone good with that statement? Okay, Vice Mayor, that was your motion. Joyce, are you clear? And is there a second? Okay, motion by the vice mayor, seconded by Commissioner McCool. Okay, we will, Commissioner Sosa, did you want to speak now or wait till public comment? You can go ahead now if you want.
Yeah, I'm just good. Just one quick question. So now that we took this away from the commissioners, who's going to decide whether that commissioner can get on through Zoom? Are we going to leave it up to the city manager? Or is it just, if I'm sick, I'm going to just say, hey, I've got the flu, I'm calling in, and that's where we're going to leave it, correct?
Right.
All right, thank you.
Okay, Commissioner Vasquez, Ola Vasquez.
Okay, I'm sort of a little bit confused where it says the commissioner participating by Zoom or similar platform may not be used to constitute a quorum.
Yes.
Correct. That is the law. Whether you like it or not, you can't change it.
You can vote, but you cannot be, you have to be physically present to have a quorum to make the meeting go forward.
Correct.
You can vote by Zoom, but you,
Okay, thank you.
yeah.
Okay.
Not under this. State of emergency is different, but not under this. Okay, Commissioner Sosa, you're good. Commissioner Avila Vasquez, you're good. And public comment, please.
Albert Bryan, please.
Commissioner Sosa, can you delete yourself if you're good? It's not going off here. Thank you.
Since y'all are so nice to bring up Section 5, number 1, I'm curious. It says family. It says family in there. Their family or an emergency situation. What do you classify as family? My great-great-great-grandniece? I mean, or do you consider immediate family? Husband, children, mother, father, father-in-law, mother-in-law? Because the way I'm reading this, the mayor could come and say, hey, my great-great-grandniece is sick. I need to go be with her in the Bahamas. I want to zoom in.
Oh, my fuck.
You say that, McCool, but we're dealing with reality here. As Mr. Sosa just said, you know, you got to think about this. I think it needs to say immediate family. Because what's to say that it can't be abused by that? I also think that maybe we need to think about what constitutes an emergency. And maybe you need to table this tonight and actually do a full workshop on it, because obviously from the discussion I just heard, there's a lot of ins and outs on this and a lot of ifs, ands, or whats, who's, where's, why's. But if you don't table it, I would advise that you change it to immediate family. Because if not, sooner or later, somebody will abuse it.
Thank you, sir.
Madam
Okay.
Mayor,
Yes, sir.
just for clarification, Florida statute does have a definition of what constitutes family.
It does?
It's pretty extensive, Candidate.
Okay.
I can read it if you'd like to hear it.
That's fine. No, because family is extremely extensive. I agree. Okay, so we have a motion and a second on the floor to approve this minus the majority vote of the commission that's removed. So since this is a resolution, we do not have to read that. I'm going to then, if there's no other commission comments, ask for a vote. And the motion passes 5-1 with Commissioner Sosa dissenting. Now we'll move on to new business. Item 8A, my favorite of the evening. Mr. Peters?
Yes, ma'am. Staff has become aware of some circumstances with regard to applicants for various boards, that many of the applications are quite old and dated. And so what we would ask the commission to do is to table this item, no date certain, for us to be able to review the applications that we have for the appropriateness in terms of the information and the currentness, if that's a word, of the application, because there are some applications that might be 1.5 years old, and the people's circumstances have changed, so we need to get them updated. So we're asking that this be tabled so that we can take another look at the application to make sure they're current.
Okay, thank you, sir. Vice Mayor?
Just a question, the Ordinance Review Committee, who's giving, have they been meeting regularly? Have they been given ordinances to review? I mean, I haven't heard anything
Year ago,
lately.
February.
The way the Ordinance Review Committee was set up originally was that this is, assignments are given basically by the commission to review ordinances. I believe the original ordinance that the commission asked them to look at was a dispute over fence ordinance at the appropriate size of fences around houses. And that was what kind of started the Ordinance Review Committee. So that's the history of it. And we have not had a meeting, I believe, since February of 2020, partly due to COVID and partly due to the lack of ordinances being forwarded to them by the commission.
Okay, so I guess part of my question is this, we have a lot of ordinances that do need reviewed, and I know right now Marcia is probably up to her eyebrows in ordinances that she's been diligently trying to go through. We have this review committee, and sometimes up here, the best people to, I don't want to say assign, but to give direction as far as the ordinance that need reviewed would be our acting city manager. So, personally, I think it'd be a great idea if they were utilized a little bit more to their best, capabilities. I mean, looking at this list, there's a lot of great people on that committee, and I'm sure you could probably utilize the help to have a group going through it as well prior to. So, I mean, I just would like to kind of see that where maybe the direction doesn't have to come just from the commission, but add the acting city manager and attorney as well.
Just so that everybody understands, under the current process, if we were to use the Ordinance Review Committee to review all new ordinance changes, we would take an item to the Ordinance Review Committee, then the item would go to Planning and Zoning, then the item comes to the commission for 2 readings. So there would be a total of 4 different public hearings regarding every ordinance. And right now, I believe, Ron can shake his head, but I believe we are working on between 15 and 20 ordinances that we have discussed with commission. Some of them are quite important, actually all of them are. So you just need to understand that we are talking about a 3 to 4 month process from the time we draft an ordinance until the commission had final approval.
Okay, then I'm confused then, and I guess I might have missed something. So if we've got this process and we're in doing it, where does the Ordinance Review Committee come in?
Well, it was created because there were citizen
Questions, right.
arguments regarding fences. And the best, at that time, the Ordinance Review Committee was created to review and have citizen oversight, and it was a fence issue. That's what it was. That's how it started out. And that's why, and the signs, yeah, and that's how it was created, and you see where we are with the signs right now. But, I mean, that's why the Ordinance Review Committee was created, to basically let a group of citizens hash it out and see how, well, especially things like fences and stuff, But
what I'm saying is, since February 2020, just since Mr. Peters has been here, there's been a lot of ordinances brought before us, right? We've had a few brought up here, but yet the Ordinance Review Committee hasn't been involved in the process. So do we need the Ordinance Review Committee, or do we not need the Ordinance Review Committee? I mean, we don't need a committee to form a committee to form a committee to make a decision. So I guess that's my question. Do we need this committee? Because we've had ordinances coming up before us without this review committee, because obviously they haven't met in
year and a half, almost.
16 months?
Well,
I'm just being honest out there. I mean, it's extra work for staff to have a committee to have a committee. If we don't need it, we don't need it.
I believe that's a decision of the commission.
I think that's something we need to review.
Well, I think that the ask for tabling does not only apply to the Ordinance Review Committee, it's an issue with applications, and the last board we gave applications to, or that we appointed people to, as I went back and looked over some of the applications, they were, from January of 2020, and people's circumstances change. And when you use old applications, do they even still live in the city? Has their circumstance changed in regards to the questions that are asked on those applications? So I think that by tabling this, unless the commission wants to dissolve the board tonight, that's your option. But I think for all the boards that we have, we need to look at the process for applications, because some of them were new and other ones were 16 months old. And to just go through those old applications or just rubber stamp things, I think there has to be a better process. And so tabling this or doing what the commission wishes with this particular committee is your call. Commissioner Vasquez, and then, let's see.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to direct a question to Ron.
Yes, ma'am.
I know this is on your agenda, this is one of the boards that you lead, because I was part of your board at one time. So my question to you is, how would you feel if this board is dissolved?
How would I feel? I mean, professionally speaking, we've always questioned that the Ordinance Review Committee creates a significant amount of redundancy with the already established Planning and Zoning Board. All these boards and committees, just as was observed, by the Vice Mayor, are very resource hungry. It can be a challenge to manage the boards, to record the minutes, and create agendas and so forth. Like I said, I think there's a certain amount of redundancy with the already established and state statute sanctioned Planning and Zoning Board that, it's just another step with regard to the creation of these ordinances. Yeah, there's been a lot of ordinances passed that the Ordinance Review Committee never got involved in. Again, as was mentioned by ACM Peters, the Ordinance Review Committee, the literal interpretation of its bylaws was they were to be directed by the City Commission to look at certain ordinances.
Oh, that's the answer we needed, right?
Mm-hmm. Commissioner McCool and then Commissioner Ramos.
I'm sorry, asked and answered.
Okay. Commissioner Ramos?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. And I think part of my question was that if we have the P&Z board, and that's their responsibility, and the P&Z board is also open to the public, there's more than enough opportunity to have these conversations. So to the Vice Mayor's point, do we sit here and throw this can down the road just to table it, or do we dissolve this and move forward? And I think we've heard from our director, we've heard from our city manager, and I think our acting city manager. I'm not sure how everybody else feels. Are we just doing something to feel good and duplicate the process? Or let's be effective of what we have. So that being said, I make a motion to dissolve the ordinance committee.
Second.
Properly moved by Commissioner Ramos, seconded by Vice Mayor Bradford for dissolution of the Ordinance Review Committee. Are there any members of the public that wanted to speak? And we'll close the public hearing. May we vote, please, on dissolution of the Ordinance Review Committee? And the motion passes 6-0.
Mayor, may I throw something out here?
Yes.
Is it a possibility that the current members of this committee, we reach out to them and see, since we always have boards with open positions, to see if any of these applicants would be willing to move to another board that's active?
I think one already is. He was appointed to DDAB, so he's
Yeah.
already,
Yeah, I noticed there's a couple.
Madam Mayor.
two of them? Yes.
We are still committed to going back through all the applications to make sure they're current. As part of that review process, they will be notified and, told what committees we have in the city so that they can apply to be on whatever committee they want, along with updating their application. So that will all be part of that review process.
Okay, thank you, sir. And now we'll move on to the next item, public forum. Anyone that's filled out for the public forum, the clerk will go ahead and read your name, and then you'll be coming up to the podium, and I'll have 4 minutes or less if you choose. So,
Albert Bryan, then Joe Sanchez, then Paul, and then Sheldon Dobie. Okay, Albert Bryan, please.
Albert Bryan, Deltona. It's funny y'all are talking about committees. I actually came up here tonight to thank you for creating a committee. As of last Tuesday, we had our first meeting, the Charter Review Board, and I have to say that I was pleasantly surprised at all the members. Even though one wasn't there, I understand he was on vacation, but that's okay. I understand he shall be coming. But I wanted to come up, take time and say thank you for creating the committee. I think that it's time that we've had a chance to review our charter. So here again, I say thank you.
thank you, sir.
Joe Sanchez, please.
Thank you for having me. I have friends here.
Mr. Sanchez, can you just pull
Yeah,
that mic down a little bit?
How's
There
that?
we go, perfect.
I have friends here from the
I see.
West Volusia Senior Softball League. After I speak, my friend Lefty will speak, and he's going to say a lot of things that I may not be able to cover. First of all, I've been here for 29 years. I moved here from New York. And 2 years ago, close to 2.5 years ago, I wanted to play softball. So I joined the West Volusia Senior Citizens Softball League. And I'm proud to be one of the ball players. As a matter of fact, I manage the A's hardware. Some of them think I'm great as a manager. I'm here because of the condition of the field. It's terrible. Also, the bathrooms are terrible. I sent pictures and a video to Vice Mayor Anita Bradford. Did you receive them? You didn't get them? They would have came back to me saying that you didn't get them. I spoke to you on the phone about it, and I said I was going to send them to you. Okay? Now, how many of you in this commission here have visited the ballpark when we're playing? How many? How many times? Victor Ramos, how many times have you been there?
Sir, we don't talk back and forth to the commission. I'm
Okay.
sorry, I can't
All
allow
right.
that.
Okay. I'm willing to bet that those that have visited have never been to the bathroom. It's disgusting. Disgusting. Sometimes you go in one of them and you'll see flies or mosquitoes. My wife came to see me play once. She had to go do number one. She had to be driven over to Wendy's to go to the bathroom. I have friends that come from Daytona, Orange City, to watch us play, and they play in those leagues. I'm embarrassed. Deltona is the biggest city in Volusia County. What is it now, 85, 90,000? You have Amazon here. Where's the money going to fix these fields for us? I've been hurt 4 times because of the dirt. It's like rock. Let me show you. that looks like cement. That's what we play on. Terrible. Let me show you what the Barry's dirt looks like. Gold. Beautiful gold. Those fields are beautiful. And the maintenance there, beautiful. Every day they're out there, even Saturdays and Sundays. We have nobody. And if they do show up, they do a terrible job. You go to the bathroom in our facility, the window, there is no mirror. You know why? Because it looks like S, if you know what I mean. When are we going to fix it? It rains and we're flooded out. I sent Anita Bradford a video of that.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Paul, please.
Next.
Thank you. I might be a little nervous, so please
That's okay.
forgive
Just
me.
your name
I want to
and for the
thank you
record.
for allowing us to come here. To kind of say, build on what Joe was saying, we played 100% of our games Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays evening. We have a very competitive league, but when it rains out, we get canceled. I would say on a heavy rain, we probably can't play for 3 days. The water that goes into our dugouts, because there's no drainage at all, it goes into the dugout, sometime 1 inch, 2 inches deep, and it draws in the mud from the field. There's not, what grass there is very little. And we have no squeegee to get the water out of the dugouts. I don't believe we have a shovel, but we have a broom, and we try to push the water out with the broom. The dirt outside of the dugout, the entranceway, is higher than the floor of the dugout. So when you push the water out, the water runs right back in. We have to dig a ditch and hopefully get the water away so, we can have a place that's dry. It's bad enough when we're on the grass in the infield that, our cleats get waterlogged, and they don't hold up that long, a year or two. But just to bring up, watch Major League Baseball the other night, and it was the Yankees and the Red Sox, and it rained like heck out there. They still played. The field was a mess. They had a second baseman that did the splits trying to catch a ball. So that's, we're seniors. We can ill afford anything like that. We don't want to get hurt. We have to sign a paper every year that if we get hurt, we can't sue the city. Not that we're trying to sue the city, but we also don't want broken legs and things like that. So what I'm asking is for somehow, some way, someone to address the drainage, the possibility of redoing the infield, and the lighting in left field corner is horrible. They put in new lights approximately 2 years ago. We complained about that. They sent someone out, I guess whoever put them up. They came during the day. Oh, it was at dusk, really. And being that I was on the committee that we have there for managers, I was there. And they just looked, and they were more concerned about center field, which is no problem. And the problem still exists in left field. If the left fielder goes back there to the fence, I don't care what he's wearing. You can't see him. He goes over to get a foul ball. He's like three feet off the line. You can't see him. So we need something to help us with the lights as well. And behind the fence, when some people hit home runs, we do have that, some people that can do that. And it's like a jungle back there. They've cut some of it out, but if there's any way that we can have more taken out, we'd appreciate that. And to get back to the people that do the field, when the field is done, it's done very well. So Donna, who was there in the past, and Eunice that is there now, appreciate everything that they've done for us. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Sheldon Doby, and then Mike Leon.
Good evening. Thanks for having me. Your Honor, Mayor, and Victor, I know you've been to a lot of our games, and you see we have a good time. And I'm just going to pick up on what they said. The field is actually terrible. There's holes there, and we're old. We're not young, and just the girls play softball there, and I know it's built more for girls softball, for high school girls softball, because I used to umpire in different schools in the whole 9 yards. And it's hard for us because we're men, and 5 of us in one dugout is the dugout, where you can have 12 high school girls there. And I don't know whether when they use the equipment on the grass, there's holes in the grass. And to go back to what Paul said, we have to sign the waiver that if anything happens to us, that we can't sue, which none of us are interested in suing. This is like us going back into our childhood. This is like kicking the can, like playing kick the can. This is all we got at our age. And to play on the field like that is just terrible. Like he said, Eunice, and when she comes out, she does a terrific job. She's a beautiful person, but she can't fix the field. She can't fix the grass. She can't fix Mother Nature. 5 seconds it rains there, and in the dugouts you're in 2 feet of water. I'm literally speaking 2 feet of water, where our bags and stuff are floating out of the dugout. There's no drainage whatsoever. And the bigger field is bigger, but it's too big for us because we're old. We can't cover that field anyway, and it's just as bad, But all we're asking is just please help us fix this field. I'm 65 years old. I had a heart attack last year. I want to play on that field. It might be the field I die on. I always dreamt about dying on the softball field, so on the baseball field. I always did. If I can die there, I know you guys would like to kill me. If I can die there on a beautiful field, not go out there and break my leg, and we just want to play comfortably. That's all we ask for, and that's all the time I have. And Mayor, thank you for coming out. Victor, thank you for coming out. I know you guys come out all the time. I see you all the time, and thank you for coming out. But please help us. All we need is help. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Mike Leon, please.
Good evening to the committee. My name is Mike Leon. I met the mayor at the park on various occasions, and Victor, of course, we've seen him there a few times as well. And we really appreciate seeing you guys there, because you guys can see things by yourselves. We don't really have to tell you how bad the situation is over there. First of all, I want to get to the bathrooms, because everybody needs a bathroom every now and then. And dang, man, you want to go into somewhere you can breathe. You look into the mirror and there's nothing but nothing there, the toilet is disgusting. To be honest with you, those bathrooms need to be torn out and put in new. They are in bad shape. I'm sure that none of you guys would ever walk into a bathroom like that because it's really bad. All right, getting to that. I also want to thank you. A couple of years ago, you guys came in, you did a great job on the park. That park, I've been here in Deltona for 31 years. That park never had anything done to it, ever, in 31 years, okay? Until just recently, 2 years ago, when Mr. Ryan came in and took over the position of director. I don't know if he's still here, but we really appreciate the fact that he did take action, and he did what he could. We got our lights in, we got new scoreboards, which, by the way, those scoreboards need as well a little adjustments. The bulbs are going dead on them. You look at it, you don't know if that's a 6, an 8, a 4, I don't know. Anyways, there are various things that need to be done there. And we really appreciate now, getting back to this, we are senior citizens. We are the taxpayers of Deltona. We've been here, I've been paying, 31 years, so I paid my dues of taxes here. And I'm sure all these guys here, they've probably been here longer or about the same time as we have. We don't ask for much. We finally got something done a couple of years ago, but the directors before that did absolutely nothing. Now you go to Dewey Boosters and you got everything looking good. You go to West Cryle, they just put a gym in West Cryle. This is the park that we use, is the busiest park in all of Deltona. No park takes in more people or has been used more than that park in DuPont here. And I love Deltona, but I feel that it's time that we as senior citizens are given a little more respect than what we've been getting all the years that we've been here. And with that, I'll leave. And thank you so much for listening. And we will appreciate every little action that you guys take on there. All right, so God bless and take care of yourselves.
Thank you, sir.
Mayor, that closes public comments.
Okay, that closes the public comment. Mr. Peters, did you want to comment now or no? I don't know if you got your finger on the mic or not.
If I can address the comment just made, Mr. Bradford, Vice Mayor Bradford spoke to me prior to the meeting. I was not aware of the situation. I contacted Ryan Reckley. We will be visiting the site within the next 2 days. We will come up with a plan for fixing the drainage, fixing the bathrooms, and I was just looking at Google Earth, and having designed many ball fields and retrofitted many ball fields in my career, I think I know the fix for the left field light problem, so we will be on it. I will remind Commission that during the budget review process, we acknowledged that our parks needed TLC. This is an example of that. We are going to increase staffing, and we're going to put more money toward improving our parks to what these gentlemen could be proud of. So that is my commitment to the Commission, but more importantly to these gentlemen in the audience for coming tonight.
Thank you, sir. Okay, now we'll move on to comments on consent agenda items.
Albert Bryan, please.
Albert Bryan, Deltona. On consent agenda item number A, about furniture and interior designs and so forth and so on. I don't have an issue or problem with the furniture and or even the havoc. What I have an issue with is we have $60,000 that basically says, oh, we're going into the capital fund for the city hall with no explanation at all. It just says $60,000. I looked through all the paperwork that y'all gave with this piece and everything else and can't find where it says what that $60,000 is going to be used for. If I could get an explanation from Mr. Peters or from one of y'all, if y'all know, that would be much appreciated.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else? Okay, that closes the public comment for consent agenda, and we will move on to the consent agenda. Mr. Peters.
Yes, Madam Mayor. Mr. Bryan was fortuitous. I am requesting that you all pull item 10A for further discussion and proceed with item 10B for a vote right now, and then we'll discuss item 10A in more detail.
Okay, so we're going to go ahead and per the acting city manager's request, pull item 11A, off the consent agenda. That leaves 11B, request for approval of contract renewal for city membership with the Rivers to Sea TPO, Transportation Planning Organization. So we have only one item on consent agenda this evening. Commissioners, if you have no comments, I need a motion and a second on item 11B. Commissioner Ramos.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I so move to approve consent agenda item B.
Second.
Okay, properly moved by Commissioner Ramos and seconded by Vice Mayor Bradford for approval of consent agenda item B. May we vote, please? And the motion passes 6-0. Next up, any commission special reports and requests?
Madam Mayor?
Yes. Oh,
When I
sorry.
said pull 11A, I meant that we would discuss it and you all would consider it.
Okay, do you want to go ahead and, it wasn't pulled for good, it was just for discussion?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, go ahead.
Item 11A is a fairly complex situation, but as many of you all know, we have several people who have a financial purpose in Deltona Water. It has long been my opinion that those employees should be at City Hall under the finance director, so that all financial elements are under a single entity. Recently, we have been having discussions with the Sheriff's Department about lack of space, and what we determined is by moving 3 people from Deltona Water over to City Hall, our purchasing manager, our accounts tech, and our budget manager, we would free up a total of 4 offices at Deltona Water. They're in a group together, they can be isolated and secured, and the Sheriff's Department would create a satellite office over at Deltona Water. The cost of moving people from the second floor of City Hall down to one of the empty classrooms down on first floor is approximately $73,000, I think the number is. That is the purchase of furniture, the cubicle style walls, modification to the air conditioning system, and a little bit on the electrical. And the area over at Deltona Water is ready for them to, the Sheriff's Department to occupy. So what we're asking for is $73,000. I had a conversation with Mr. Bryan over the weekend, and in the course of the conversation, I realized that a more appropriate means to pay for this project is our law enforcement impact fee, because the need for the 4 offices for the sheriff is directly related to the growth in the city. That is the requirement in order to use law enforcement impact fees. We struggle mightily to find a use for that money because we have a contract, the sheriff gets what he needs. So what we're recommending revised is, instead of the $60,000 from the building improvement fund and all that, is that we use the law enforcement impact fee to pay the full cost of this project. And for Ms. McCool's benefit, the furniture in question meets green building standards.
Vice Mayor.
No, I hereby move to grant approval for the purchase of the office furniture and associated equipment at a total cost of $73,921.58. IT division, $50,000. Do we want to say that, or we just want to say from the funds of the law enforcement?
Paid for from the law enforcement impact fee.
Paid
fund.
for from the law enforcement impact fees. The acting city manager has the authority to make minor modifications to the plans, correct scrivener errors and the like. So let me read that again. I hereby move to grant approval for purchase of the office furniture and associated equipment of a total cost of $73,921.58 with proceeds from the law enforcement impact fees. The acting city manager has the authority to make minor modifications to the plans, correct scrivener errors and the like.
Properly moved by Vice Mayor Bradford. Is there a second?
Second.
Properly seconded by Commissioner Avila Vasquez. So we have a motion and a second on the floor. For this item, we already had public comments. Commissioner Sosa?
Okay. Just for clarification, we're going to move the IT department downstairs into the classrooms. We're going to move the staff from city water over to where the IT department currently is now. And then we're going to open up 4 offices for the sheriff's department at the Deltona City Water. And the total cost is going to be $73,921.58 for the move, plus an additional $10,000 for the HVAC for the IT department. So we're looking at about a total of $84,000. And that's going to come out of the law enforcement impact fees.
That is correct, sir.
All right, thank you, sir.
If there are no further questions from the commission, we have a motion and a second on the floor for approval with using law enforcement impact fee funds. May we vote, please? And the motion passes 6-0. Now we'll move on to commission special reports and requests. If anyone has anything, please let me know. Commissioner McCool?
Speaking of all things green and beautiful, I would like you to know that today I spoke with V-Card, Carrie Carl at V-Card, and I also talked to Mr. Watts regarding us moving forward and doing some meetings and presentations regarding green building practices. And I had talked to Mr. Peters about that, so that will be forthcoming. So that's more of a little report. And second of all, I would like to report and share that I am so looking forward to the rest of the commission certificate for the streets that they have adopted as we move with beautifying Deltona. I received mine today, and I'm sure that y'all's are forthcoming. And I'm so excited to hear about the streets that you adopted. And keeping the city beautiful and litter-free. I'm sure that Mr. Fowler will be reporting to us any day also about the street that his firm has adopted to keep Deltona beautiful. So I just wanted to share and see that when you adopt a street that you will get a beautiful certificate like this for helping keep Deltona beautiful. That's it. Thank you, Madam
That's
Mayor.
awesome, Honorable Commissioner. What street did you adopt?
I adopted Tivoli between Saxon and Providence. It is in my district, and I know that we're all dying to keep our districts beautiful. So thank you very much for the privilege of doing this.
Awesome. I will be adopting a street as well. I forgot to set it up. Remind me. Okay, any other special reports and requests? City Attorney, do you have any comments?
Not tonight, Mayor, thank you.
City Manager?
Not tonight. We're an hour and 32 minutes.
Hallelujah. City Commission comments. Who wants to begin? Commissioner McCool.
I would just like everyone to have a beautiful evening, and thank you for the privilege of finishing my ethics class also. This is quite a growing opportunity, and I am loving this, and just thank our residents for participating this evening. And I would like to wish everyone a good night.
Thank you, ma'am. Commissioner Ramos?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Yes, I just want to be able to talk a little bit about the public comments that we had here. Mr. Joe is very passionate, and just as they're passionate here, you should see their passion in the softball field. I would have to say, yes, throughout the years, we've been able to do some improvement, whether it's the lighting, the scoreboard, some of the mulch in the area and things like that. But I have to say the field in itself is a very old field. And for many times, Parks and Rec has kind of like put a patch on it. And when it rains, there is no irrigation system that's going to help. My understanding is that they've also been waiting to see when this rain stops to be able to drag the field. And that's been part of my conversation when I've been out there with the ball players, that it does no good to put a patch here and put a patch there. It's just waiting for an opportunity and talking to them about the budget process. So I'm glad they heard it here as well, for an opportunity to be able to drag the field so that, yes, it's safe for all of the seniors. So I'm glad they came out here. Very true. That place, the field, when it gets wet, it's like clay. It's saturated, and it's very difficult, and it takes some time. And you can imagine that this, for them, is the field of dreams. games, all right? And when they're ready to play, and because it's rain, they don't have an opportunity to play, they're frustrated, and it's understandable. So I'm glad to hear that there are some things happening. As far as your restroom, I know there was also some challenges with the restroom at one time. When I had spoken to Dr. Cooper, and that was, we were starting to lock them overnight just because you had a lot of folks going in at nighttime and using this, and just creating some challenges. But I think I'm happy they came out here to show their emotions, their frustration as well, and it would be great to see you guys any day out there on a Monday, Wednesday, or Friday. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Commissioner Avila Vasquez.
Thank you, Mayor. And going back to a comment for the softball team that just came in today, I just want to confirm that for the record, Mr. Peters, this is one of the few teams that pays a registration fee per player to the city of Deltona. Yes. Am I correct? Just want to put that out there for the record, because I know we have had a lot of comments of teams that have used our parks, and they pay a fee to the team, but very little to the city. So each player that they have pays a registration fee to the city, including the rental fee of the park. So they do put in their share to the city. I also want to ask a question regarding the adoption of the streets. I know that in some areas, some cities, they put a sign up that says street is adopted with the name on it, because I know my street was adopted by a former resident who passed away a while back. Is that still being done? Yes. It is, okay, thank you. The other thing I want to say is kudos to the center for a great Latin dance on Friday. We had a good turnout, considering the people are still being nervous a little bit about the COVID, but you know, it was a lot of fun. The band was awesome. And coming from me, you know, they had to be good. So good event on Friday. And also, I just want to remind everyone that things are getting really bad again with COVID-19. Please be careful. Make sure you get your shots. I know my grandson, 12 years old, we took him last week. He got his second shot. So please be careful, wear your mask if you feel uncomfortable, but it's getting a little crazy out there, so just be careful. And Albert, thank you so much for volunteering to be part of the committee, the charter committee, and I hope you guys, and I trust that you guys are making the good changes and updates to it. So thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Sosa?
I'm good tonight.
Vice Mayor?
Okay, just a couple things. The Charter Review Committee, thank you guys. I mean, I watched it live on Facebook. It seems as if you've got a great diversity of a group there. It looked like the meeting went well. So I'm kind of excited and looking forward to what you guys are going to all bring forward. I also want to bring up and get people out there. We are already revving up for back to school. So let's just start getting it out there early. Sunday, August 1st from 8 to 11 at the center, you know, our wonderful Deltona Fire Rescue is having their annual backpack to school. This provides the students and families with free supplies and resources, and, you know, it's a great event. If you've never been there, you're gonna leave with backpacks, and your backpacks are literally filled with the supplies you need. All of these items are donated. It's a free event. You know, and I tell you, come out, be at this community event. If you have kids, bring your kids. Joe, is there registration only for Deltona children, or is it? Yeah, because I don't think in the past we've actually done it. You know, lots of giveaways, and it's a fun time. It's a fun time. So again, this is Sunday, August 1st from 8 to 11, and at our beautiful center here in Deltona. That's it, Mayor.
Okay, thank you. I just have a couple of things. I should have done these, excuse me, under special reports. But Monday, we had the roundtable of elected officials and had some interesting discussions regarding affordable housing and regarding multiple other things, and bus benches always come up. And I think, this city is not the only one dealing with inadequate bus benches / shelters. So hopefully we will have some sort of a resolution to some of that, just like Daytona. The city of Daytona did a great job with their contract on the bus bench and the advertising and so forth, actually bus shelters. Then we also had a Volusia League of Cities Executive Board meeting on Tuesday, and that was a big discussion on that was the League of Cities dinner. We finally are having our first one in person, and topic is going to be the American Rescue funding, and they're going to talk about some of how people are using that money and what kind of your parameters are, which is still kind of up in the air. But it's going to be exciting to see people in person for the first time in over a year. And lastly, on Friday, I attended the second Florida League of City Policy Committee meeting. I chair the Utilities, Natural Resources, and Public Works Policy Committee, and normally our focus is on water and water quality, all things water quantity, quality, so forth, stormwater discharge. And this time it is going to be on the trees, in the tree ordinance or tree statute that was passed in not this past session, the previous session, where it kind of really gave no teeth to anyone's tree ordinances in any city in this state or any county. It pretty much cut the legs out from under the municipalities from preventing people from just cutting down trees, whether it's new development, whether it's, historic areas, or whether it's on your own property. We have some type of a tree ordinance here. We have not enforced it in a long time, and now no one is able to. So hopefully this policy committee is going to ask the legislature to define some of the aspects of what they mean by large words such as dangerous tree. What does that actually mean? And certified arborist, what does that actually mean? And because there's a whole underground movement of just, I'm an arborist and that tree looks like it's going to need to fall off and you're going to pay me X amount of dollars for saying that, and then you can go chop it down. So the consensus of this policy committee was that we really wanted to take a review of that, and you're not going to get the legislature to repeal the statute, but to at least maybe make some modifications and define what is the residential ramifications as opposed to commercial, because it's a broad blanket issue. The other thing we're looking at is something called PFAS, which is a forever chemical. It's a lot of in-depth information on PFAS in groundwater and everything. I talked to Mr. Peters about that about 8 years ago. All the municipalities required to do a kind of a test to see if it's anywhere. But we're looking at that as more of a policy statement and just bringing awareness to that. But it was a very good meeting. There are 5 policy committee meetings. I encourage the commission next session to get involved in something like that. Our fellow cities are involved on some of those. Some of the elected officials are involved in the finance or the other ones that are up there. And it's always, it's interesting to understand that your city's not the only one facing some of these issues. We all tend to think it's only us, but most of this is statewide. So it's always good to have a discussion, and I'm very happy that these gentlemen came out tonight for public comment, because this is citizenry in action. And I have been down there a lot of times for these softball games, less since COVID, but they're an enthusiastic bunch. They have great sponsorship for their teams, and the park looks better, but it's still sad. It needs help. It's a show place. It could be, with the water, with everything that's there, it really could be an awesome, awesome piece in the middle of our city. So I know, Mr. Peters, you want to take a look at the field and the condition and the runoff and so forth, but I would also ask that we look at it from an aesthetic point of view, see if we can do a little bit of landscaping there. Commissioner Avila Vasquez, did you have something?
Yes, Mayor, I just wanted to share with the residents that there is, the county is now accepting rental
Yes.
assistance applications, but the applications are being accepted at the city library here of Providence Boulevard. So if anybody needs or wants to apply, you just go over to the, I can't remember the times, but it's at the city library in Deltona for rental assistance.
And to piggyback on that, if you had applied prior and there was not funding available, they are also reaching out to those people who had previously applied. I have someone that I know that had previously applied and was never even contacted, couldn't get through it over in another city, and they did contact them and said, hey, we've got money and we're going to meet with you and so forth. So don't give up hope if you applied and didn't get anywhere. Thank you all very much. We are adjourned.